Hi everyone, I'm Carly of Gnarly Carley Gaming, and today I am talking about my experience with the solo horror game, Final Girl. I don't play solo at all. I've worked at a board game store, and when giving solo recommendations, I just pulled on my friends who play solo games and asked them what they like in order to give the best recommendations possible, because truly I just didn't know. When there's solo components in a box, I typically just kind of set them aside in a giant bag and just don't care about them whatsoever, because I just never play solo. One of the reasons I love gaming is because of the social energy it gives me. I love sharing that experience with someone else. And the couple times that I played solo, I just didn't find it as satisfying as when I played the same game with another person. However, Final Girl intrigued me. I really love the horror movie genre, and so its thematics was really cool. The whole idea is you are playing as the final girl. That trope of the protagonist female that survives to the end and kind of faces off with the killer, and your goal is to kill the killer, and the killer's end goal is to kill you. The premise of the game deeply intrigued me. I loved the idea of being that last person standing, and if I was going to play solo, it might as well be because I am the last person standing. And so I gave it a shot, and now I'm a smidge obsessed. This genius solo game that has captured me is actually a system of games. This right here is the core box, and when you open it, you find your rulebook and your essential meeples and components that work no matter the horror adventure you're going on. These are your basics, and everything else is in one of these feature film boxes. Each feature film box contains multiple Final Girls for you to pick from, but also has a double-sided box. Both sides can open with a magnetized lid and give you, whoop, there goes the special rules for that side. This is the killer side. It gives rules for Hans, and it also comes with sometimes tokens for it. If you get the miniature upgrade, you can have those too, as well as special cards that relate to having this as your killer in the game. The back of the box that you take off is actually your board for the killer, which has their stats as they evolve. If they kill more people, they rise in bloodlust and kind of get stronger. And on the other side of the box is your location board. So this is Camp Happy Trails, where Hans is trying to slaughter and destroy you. And in it again, cards that are specific to the location. What's really cool about this box system is it makes it really seamless to mix and match the games you're playing. There's even a deck in the game called the Terror deck that you'll pull from round to round to see kind of what the killer will do during its action phase. And you mix and match cards from both the killer as well as the location. So location and killer specific events can all interplay regardless of which feature films you're pulling from. It also means that if I want to mix and match this game and this game, I can take off two different sides of it, mix their components, and I'm ready to go without having to pick through a piecemeal big box full of two different sides of a game. When you're setting up, you'll grab the core box and get all your basic components out, and then you'll grab the stuff from the killer side of one box and the location of another, or from the same box if you want more of that classic movie lineup. Each round, time clicks on, with a limited number of options available for you to do, represented by cards that you're able to pull into your hand that give you actions. Each of these cards will drain your time in different ways, and you have a set amount of time each round in order to do as much as you can to kill the killer or get other people to safety or just keep yourself alive. For a lot of actions, you'll have to roll dice, called a horror check, to determine the success of your action. Will you be able to successfully sprint over to another location and rescue victims along the way? Or will you trip and fall on your face in the heat of the moment and the panic of the situation and end up injuring yourself and wasting even more time than you bargained for? But along the way, the goal is simple. You have to kill that killer before it kills you, even at the expense of other victims around you. And while dice rolling typically isn't my jam, the thematics of this game just made it so compelling to me. I love the idea that you can be methodical and plan something out, but in that heat and panic of a horror film situation, it can all tumble and go awry just from overthinking it or any number of other things getting in your way that you can't account for. And often this game is brutal. I'd like to say I can't count the number of times that I've lost, but I have indeed counted the number of times that I lost. My initial goal was to beat every core box with each of the final girls within it, and I've accomplished that, and now my new goal is to beat every location and killer combo. I wanted to add with every final girl, but that's feeling a little unrealistic for me, especially with Series 2 on the horizon. We're officially 6 days out from the end of the Kickstarter campaign for the second set of feature films, and if I were to do every combination of final girls, locations, and killers, then I'm pretty sure Series 3 would just be me in the corner of my board game room crying over Final Girl. It wouldn't be a sad death though. So if you're into solo gaming, I'd say this is one that's definitely worthwhile to check out. And if you're like me and never really found as much fulfillment in solo gaming, but are really interested in the horror genre, I'd say grab the core box and a couple feature films from the Kickstarter campaign. The full series is going to be $159 to back, US dollars, and both series are $300, and that's a lot. And so maybe for a solo gamer, I'd recommend picking one series, but really for someone who's just dabbling in it and intrigued by it and probably hearing massive things across the internet about how wonderful it is, I'd say get the core box and get a couple and try them out. There's a lot of replayability even in just 3 boxes and a core box, or even just one if you're trying to give it a go. The core box, as well as 2 feature films, will cost you around $60, and even if you wanted to bump that up to 3 feature films and make it $80, I think that's a fairly reasonable amount. I've spent that amount on a single box game before. And so with the replayability that you get in this and the portability and everything else that makes this a really wonderful solo adventure, I think that is what makes the sense for most backers. So that is my hot take on the hotness that is Final Girl right now. I am so surprised to say that I'm actually really smitten by a solo game. I still don't think it's my jam. I still won't try out many, but I do properly love this one. I guess it just took a whole lot of creepy shit to get me over the solo bridge, but I'm happy here. If you have any questions about the game, let me know in the comments below, and if you've played, let me know which feature film has been your favorite thus far, or which you're looking forward to in Series 2. Otherwise, I will see you all next Friday for another video.